So you want to be the real Carnage, huh? Let me see your best Carnage impression then.
Spider-Man! I see you, Spider-Man!
Are you crazy?
YouTube, what's happening? Welcome back to another 978 video. I want to give you guys a comparison on a real versus a replica Marvel Legends Carnage figure. So one of these is fake and the other one is real. Can you guys tell before I kind of give it away? I'll give you a couple seconds. Alright, time's up. So the one on the left is a bootleg, a knockoff, replica, fake, Fugazi, not real. I don't know how, there's a bunch of ways to say it, but this is just not a real figure. I mean, it's not a factory release, not a Marvel factory release, so it's just a bootleg figure, and the one on the right is a actual release. So to compare them both, they look really good, right? It's hard to tell, I'm not gonna lie. I know a lot of y'all was stumped, you probably picked the right one. Now they both resemble each other so much, it's hard to tell them apart. So I don't fault you if you pick the one on the right as being fake and the one on the left is being legit. But other than looks, there are a few differences in these figures. Based on their looks alone, they do look pretty much identical. I could just, let me pull up a little bit so I don't have to move these guys. You see they look exactly the same. Maybe this color over here is a little darker, slightly. In person, it's hard to tell. Like everything is the same in person except the eyes. These eyes are more metallic, and these are like pearly white, pearlescent versus metallic. So that's a major giveaway when looking for a Carnage figure. If it has silver eyes, it's most likely a fake. If it has white pearlescent eyes, it's most definitely a real. But then again, bootlegs get so sophisticated and better. I'm sure nowadays they got some flawless bootlegs. So yeah, let's take a look at them. Oh. So off looks alone, they kind of paint it in the same places. This paint is a little off in certain areas. You can see this paint is really sloppy. It's not painted everywhere. The teeth on the bottom are like not painted, so it looks like he's an old man with gums. Whereas here, it's painted better. There's a couple flaws. You can see the flaw in the face. Couple nicks, but I've had this for a while and it's been loose and I've been playing with it, so it could have been me just messing around, chipping the figure off. You see this little chip on his left jaw. So there's a few things you can tell when you want to compare a real versus a fake. So let's pull up the original. It's pretty simple. I'm gonna do this really quick. You guys are familiar with the original figure, so there's not much to say about it. This is kind of soft, it feels good, everything feels good. The only thing with my original is I have a hip issue, and a lot of Carnages have that issue. I call it the Elvis Presley, the honky tonk. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. And to pull this figure up, I mean, the difference with this one and that one is the material used to make it. You can feel that it's just a little harder than that. This is bendable, like you can heat that up and it'll bend. I'm sure this will too, but it just feels like it's gonna break. It looks good, it's tight, everything's tight except this foot joint is really loose. This one is super tight. But yeah, the paint apps are pretty cool. This thing is super stiff. It's the same size and everything, so I can fit it in there if I wanted to. But it's just really stiff, and that's like an ultimate giveaway. When you feel this, you'll know it's not that. And it's not a big deal. But it is when you play with these a lot. Like if you pose them around, you're like me and you want to have some cool positioning every now and then for some pictures, or every now and then you want to reposition them on your shelf. It's scary to play with a figure that's so brittle that every time you move it, you're going to be concerned of it breaking. So it's not fun. But for the price, it's definitely worth it. I mean, if we bring up the price point, I would say that the knockoff is worth it. I paid $16, $17 roughly. So $17 worth for $35, $40 that you're gonna pay for Carnage now is definitely worth it. I mean, Carnage released at $20, so if you were lucky to get them then, congratulations, you hit the jackpot. Because now, to be honest, a lot of Spider-Man figures are going up in value. It's not just Carnage, it's not just Pizza Spidey, it's Superior Venom, it's Silk, it's Gwen. A lot of these figures go up, so I would really hold on to your Spider-Man figures for a while, at least for years, before you start giving them away and selling them, because they definitely go up in price. But Spider-Man figures always go up in price, so keep that in mind. Would I recommend this figure? Only if you couldn't get an original Carnage. If you can't get a Carnage figure, then go ahead and get yourself a knockoff. I wouldn't customize a knockoff though, because of how brittle they are. And I wouldn't want to put so much work into something that's gonna break. I would feel bad, so I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't waste my time on it. But if you want to have them, just to have them to add to your collection, definitely go get them. If you're trying to get knockoffs to paint, don't do that, man. It's not worth it. I actually had this for a long time. I mentioned it in a Superior Venom video. I just never really had time to review it. I pulled it out now because I have this head here, and I kind of want to talk about it for a second. So if you guys don't mind, let me keep this Carnage out. Let's talk about this head. Now, first off, crying all the time,